Okay, here's something to think about. Top performing sales teams. They're apparently 85% more likely to have high emotional intelligence. 85%.
Wow, that's quite a stat.
Right. So it makes you wonder, doesn't it? If you're a sales leader or a hiring manager or even an executive, are you really truly leveraging this? Is this, a part of your strategy for real sales success?
Yeah.
Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through all the noise and just focus on what actually matters for you.
Hmm.
Today, we're looking at a piece from the Sales Experts called Adapting Your Communication Style for Results Emotional Intelligence.
Good one.
Our mission here is pretty simple. Pull out those actionable insights you can actually use. How can understanding and, adapting to different emotional needs and preferences really drive sales success for you and your teams?
It's fascinating, really, because when you look at sales through this emotional intelligence lens, it kind of shifts things, doesn't it?
Oh, so.
Well, it moves away from just, pure transactions
Right.
and more towards genuine human connection. This article from the Sales Experts, it really hits that point home. It shows how tuning into the emotional needs, both of your clients and, importantly, your team, that can be a really powerful lever for getting better results.
So it's about the undercurrent, the emotional part of every conversation.
Exactly. It's understanding that it's always there.
Yeah.
And the people who can navigate that effectively, well, they tend to see much greater sales success.
Absolutely. And the Sales Experts blog, it offers some, let's say, foundational guidance on how to adapt communication. They talk about becoming more attuned to nonverbal cues, right? Body language, tone of voice, all that unspoken stuff.
The things we often miss if we're not paying attention.
Yeah. It's almost like developing a kind of sixth sense, for figuring out what's really going on beneath the surface.
And that awareness, that heightened sense, it feeds directly into active listening. That's another cornerstone they really emphasize.
Which isn't just keeping quiet while the other person talks.
Not at all. No. It's about really absorbing what they're saying, both the words, the content, and the emotion behind it.
Okay.
A really simple technique, actually, is just to quickly summarize what you think you heard before you jump in with your response.
Shows you're actually listening.
Exactly. It shows you're engaged, you're trying to understand their perspective, their feeling.
Right. And that really paves the way for empathy, doesn't it? For putting yourself in their shoes.
Precisely.
The blog highlights how understanding and crucially acknowledging someone's feelings, that builds rapport. It builds trust. And that's just gold in any sales relationship, isn't it?
Absolutely priceless.
They also mention flexing your communication style, knowing when to be direct versus maybe taking a softer, more diplomatic approach.
Yeah, that flexibility is just key. It really shows you're committed to connecting properly, not just pushing your own agenda. Now, for our listeners, the sales leaders, the hiring managers, the sales experts offer some really valuable insights around self-assessment and developing this emotional intelligence.
Okay.
This takes it beyond just theory. It gives you concrete actions, things you can do for yourself, but also when you're evaluating your team or potential hires.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. How does this translate for leaders specifically? I know the blog focuses on recruiters, but it seems totally applicable.
Well, completely applicable.
Yeah.
It just underscores that emotional intelligence. It's not some soft skill on the side.
Right.
It's a core competency. It's essential for connecting with clients, building those strong relationships, and frankly, navigating the tough conversations and challenges that inevitably come up in sales.
So what are the practical steps then, according to the Sales Experts? How do you actually improve it?
Well, they lay out a pretty clear framework. It starts with just acknowledging its importance, really understanding why it matters in sales.
Okay, step one.
Then it's about an honest self-assessment. Where are you really at with things like empathy, active listening, maybe even conflict resolution?
Gotta be honest with yourself.
Absolutely. Then actively educate yourself. Learn about EI, specifically in the sales context.
Yeah.
How do emotions influence deals? Client interactions.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Then comes the practice. Practice active listening. Really hearing people out, not interrupting, validating their feelings. Cultivate empathy. Consciously try to see things from their point of view.
Yeah.
And develop self-awareness. Know your own emotional states, your triggers. What sets you off? Why?
Okay.
And the final piece, which is crucial, seek feedback. Ask your team members, ask your clients, how do they perceive your communication, your empathy?
That feedback loop. That's got to be huge.
It's invaluable. It gives you that real-world check on how you're actually landing.
Okay, so for you listening right now, here's maybe the first big takeaway, straight from the sales experts. You need to prioritize developing emotional intelligence, both for yourself and for your team. It's fundamental. It drives sales success.
Couldn't agree more. And building right on that, the second key takeaway is all about leveraging the resources that are already out there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
The sales experts piece points to 3 main categories to help you grow in this area: books, online courses, and workshops or seminars.
Okay, like what? Did they mention specifics?
They did. For books, they mentioned some well-known ones like Emotional Intelligence 2.0, The EQ Edge, and Daniel Goleman's Working with Emotional Intelligence foundational stuff.
Good starting points. Offers that deeper dive, I suppose.
Exactly. And then for more structured, maybe bite-sized learning, they highlight online platforms. Think Udemy, Coursera, LinkedIn Learning.
Lots of options there.
Yeah, they give examples like an Emotional Intelligence Masterclass or the Science of Happiness at Work. These are often really accessible, interactive ways to build specific skills.
And the third category, workshops.
Yep, workshops and seminars. For people who maybe prefer learning in person, collaborating with others, they mention potential providers like the Institute for Health and Human Potential or the Emotional Intelligence Academy, places like that.
So different strokes for different folks, basically.
Precisely. Different learning styles need different approaches, and it's great they offer that range.
Okay, so that's takeaway number 2 then.
Yeah.
Actively check out and actually use these resources. Get them working for you and your sales organization to lift that EI capability.
Yeah, don't feel like you're starting from zero. There's a wealth of knowledge you can tap into.
So wrapping this up, the bottom line, coming straight from the sales experts, seems crystal clear for sales leaders, for hiring managers, for executives. Developing emotional intelligence, consciously adapting how you communicate. These aren't just, nice to haves. They're absolutely essential ingredients if you want to achieve greater sales success.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not fluff. These skills directly impact your ability to build strong, lasting client relationships. They help you foster a more collaborative, more effective sales team.
Yeah.
And ultimately, they help drive those higher closing rates we talked about right at the beginning.
Yeah.
It connects back.
It all connects. Okay, so to summarize the action points for you, the listener, first, make emotional intelligence a real priority for you, for your team. See it as a direct path to boosting sales success.
Right.
Second, explore those resources we just talked about, the books, the courses, the workshops. Find what fits and use them to support that development.
And maybe leave you with this thought. How intentionally are you currently cultivating emotional intelligence as a competitive advantage within your sales organization? Is it something you actively work on?
Good question. We definitely encourage you to reflect on your own style, maybe check out some of those resources from the sales experts, dive deeper.
Yeah, take that first step. Think about how you can implement these strategies with your teams to unlock better results, better sales success.
And that's your shortcut to being well-informed on a really critical part of sales leadership today. Thanks for taking the deep dive with us.